I'm obviously like
you're obviously
pretty jovial.
Yeah,
I'm in a good mood.
Well,
I've had a few alcohols.
Do that over this. All right, folks, if you were tuned into our first half hour, then you know what you don't know because we never actually said what we were about to talk about.
What are we about? What are we talking about?
Well, we're talking about the North Carolina Republican gubernatorial candidate, Mark Robinson.
More like a gubernatorial candidate, am I right?
Am I right? Yeah. No, this shit, man.
Oh, boy.
This is blown, I wouldn't say out of it. This is blown into proportion because I'd like to point out that a lot of us were already saying, Jesus Christ, this guy is bad fucking news.
We were saying it about perfectly normal stuff, though.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not perfectly.
Okay,
normal.
sorry. No, it was because he had said several weeks ago certain people should be put to death.
Right, and he'd also his foundation of his campaign, not just this time, but when he was elected lieutenant governor, was that women shouldn't be able to vote.
Oh yeah,
so,
and I'm guessing a certain amount of women voted for that, right?
Yes, which is the height of irony, right?
I never understand that shit, but okay. But I mean, at the same time, I also don't understand like what the fuck people in Middle America vote for shit that's against their best interests. So I guess I'll go to my grave underestimating the foolishness of the American consumer.
Right. As a brief aside, I was reading an internet conversation about somebody that was like, I'm not voting for Harris. I'm not, because genocide. And like, I'm like, yes, okay. What the shit that's going on in the Middle East right now is also batshit. Like, it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But whether you vote for Trump or you vote for Harris or vote for none of them,
you're going to get the same result.
It's still going to be a genocide.
Yeah, you're going to get the same result because nobody's going to stand up to Israel. Like, we're going to continue to send arms over there.
I would very much like to, but
oh god, yeah. I wish there was like a line item on your fucking taxes where you could be like, and I'm going to go ahead and subtract $275 because I'm not sending any fucking arms to Israel.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Well, and but at the same time, I want to make sure that we have like basic human rights in our country.
Yeah,
like, so let's just put it into perspective. It's a problem there, and that's a huge problem. But we have a huge problem here too.
Yes.
So let's deal with the immediate. So anyway, dealing with the immediate is the gubernatorial candidate, Mark Robinson. And the batshit shit that has come out about him lately.
Well, the funniest thing to me is that he's such a dipshit that I say this, and at the same time, I'm that guy. I use the same user login for every fucking forum I ever join to.
Yeah, but you're not running for Congress.
And I never will. And I never will. And you know why?
Public office, yes.
Because I say things that are controversial. And I'm aware of it. Well,
sure. But you also, as far as I know, because I don't think we'd still be friends, you don't randomly victimize people.
No, either. I try not to do that. No, I don't do that. I'm just saying, but I do hold some controversial opinions. And if anyone ever, because I've had people say this to me once in a while, like, you should run for office. And I'm like, I absolutely should fucking not. Because I say a lot of things on the fucking internet.
Because I will absolutely come back to haunt you.
Right. And I'm aware of it, and fuck it. Like, and also I'm not going to change who I am to kowtow to people. I don't give a fuck. But I don't advocate hurting anyone, right? So that there is that. And that's probably the reason we're still friends.
But that's fair.
Like, at the end of the day, I'm the kind of person who doesn't want to hurt anybody.
But if only somebody had said to Mark Robinson, you should run for office, and he'd said, no, I absolutely should not. Would have been.
He's not the kind of person with that sort of self-awareness.
No, not at all. Absolutely not. So
Nor is he the kind of person who goes, I should probably go delete some things.
Yeah, no, clearly not. So where do we want to do? You want me to just run down the list?
Yeah, you run down the list, and I'll stop you when I feel like I have something on the aside.
Well, among the things that came out recently was that he was on various internet sites, not just any sites, but porn sites, and not just any porn sites, but trans porn sites, which of course is problematic in that he is actively working to destroy trans rights in our state. So clearly he has
and also you're right to look at porn to be
well, yeah, no, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. because that's also been a thing in North Carolina.
You know what's
We
actually funny to me?
can't.
I'm not going to tell you how I know this, but I saw a thing recently posted that said Project 2025 is going to take away your right to look at porn. This was on a type of website.
Well, sure.
And I thought it was interesting. I was like, hey, you know what? I got to give it to that industry for putting that out there.
Tapping into that market. Absolutely.
Saying, hey, if you enjoy this, it's going to go away if you vote for the wrong people. So
right, and I am a firm believer that sex work is honest work. It's work.
It's honest work.
But
it's an exchange of services and or goods for money.
But and
that's
people
fair.
And people shouldn't be shamed for it. And in particular, like the trans porn situation. Well, first let's go back for a second, because among the comments that he made on this, first of all, who does the forums on a porn site? Like, who's stupid enough to be typing on the forum?
Like, that's not what you're there for.
Like, it's
I'm here to have a fucking conversation.
Yeah, why are you doing that? But one of the things he said,
I'm here to make friends.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm forging relationships.
But one of the things he said that's become a huge blow up, a huge talking point, right, is that he called himself a black Nazi. And obviously there are very specific, and he meant it. He meant it literally, like he's a white supremacist, but he is a black man.
Right.
Like, there's no middle ground. There's no gray area.
Right.
No pun intended. But it was on trans porn sites, in which one of the things he said, and I have an edited version of this thing. One of the things he typed, like, it's one thing if you said it and you could be like, oh, they deep faked that. No, he fucking typed it.
Yeah. If you type it on the internet, it's forever.
Yeah.
Really, which is, I mean, I made a joke earlier about deleting some things, but you can't really. I mean, you can delete. I don't know how much you can backtrack, but people can find it because there's internet archives.
Right.
So it exists forever. You know, I will say this: in the future, there will come a time when what I said earlier about, like, what I said on the internet keeps me from running. There will come a time when that'll be like when Gen Z's running for office. No one will give a shit what you said on the
because there's everything. Their
whole life was on the internet.
Yeah.
Yes,
their parents shared naked baby photos of them, and they didn't have control over that.
Yes, and since then, everything's been on the fucking internet, and it's so, you know. But I'm trying to digress for a second. But I remember at one point when Britney Spears was 15 years old, and someone asked her how she felt about George W. Bush, and she's like, "Well, he's the president, so I mean, like, whatever, you know, like, I guess he knows what he's doing." And people were like, listen to her. And I'm like, she's fucking 15. Like,
50, who the fuck knows anything at 15?
Exactly. And she shouldn't be held, like, you know, like, that's still out there. You can still go look that up.
Yeah.
And if anybody quoted her on it now, I'd be like, yeah, but thank God nothing I said when I was 15, like, is on the damn internet.
No shit.
You know, I mean, a lot of the shit I've said is on the internet, but it's only stuff I said to a fucking adult. So
and you know it, and you would take accountability.
I know it. I take accountability. Exactly. But yeah, I'm just trying to say, like, I probably held more controversial opinions between the ages of 15 and 18, and thank God there was no internet.
Well, and this individual, this man who was running for...
But he said this is an adult.
Well, yeah, no, as an adult, yes, absolutely. As an adult who should know better, but clearly not only doesn't know better, but believes he's right, so he said that he likes to watch trans porn, but specifically he likes watching transgender slur, which I will not repeat. And it's fucking hot. It takes the man out while leaving the man in. Like, it's some bullshit. And this is a guy who is actively working against trans rights in our state.
Yeah.
Including a public statement he made that trans women shouldn't be allowed to use public bathrooms at all. Not women's rooms, not men's rooms. They just need to go shit outside because they're animals.
And that'll be okay? Like, everybody's going to be cool with that?
No,
like,
you would be cool
I'm
with
going
that.
to pop a squat over here in the corner of this concert because I'm trans.
No, the end result is he doesn't believe they're human beings.
Sure.
Is the end result of that conversation. He has also said things like, as Americans, we need to get back to reading the work of Stalin and Hitler.
When as Americans did we read the works of Hitler and Stalin? And why Hitler and Stalin? Those are two... I mean, well, they're two horrible people, but two horrible people with vastly different outlooks.
Right.
aside from the genocide thing.
Right.
You know, that's the one thing they did have in common was they both like to kill people. But yeah, that's crazy. Like I don't recall as a country when all of us collectively read Hitler and or Stalin.
No, just the white supremacists, the crazy white supremacists.
Sure,
people.
we should get back to reading fucking To Kill a Mockingbird is what we should do.
We should get back to reading the books that these people are trying to ban.
Right.
So that's what we should be. Which is funny because
Slaughterhouse 5.
Yeah, no shit. They also want to ban things like the graphic novel Mouse.
Yeah,
which is about Nazi Germany. But it's not pro-Nazi Germany.
It's definitely not.
And they want to ban that. So that's a problem. Here's one of my favorites. When a woman is pregnant, it's no longer her body. So women are just vessels for men's babies, apparently.
I guess so. Well, this is the same kind of shit that leads to like legislation, like you have to carry it to term even if you're raped, and then he's got the right to file for like child support or visitation
parental rights. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Fucking nonsense.
Yeah, absolutely.
This crazy shit. What else?
Insane.
What else you got?
So back to the trans issue, he has actually said on record that former First Lady Michelle Obama is a secret transgender woman.
So he was really turned on by her is what he meant.
Apparently.
He's like, I suspect. Yeah.
Among many of that shit things this man has said, he, as a black man, has said he would own slaves given an opportunity.
Would he though? Because if he given an opportunity, he would not be able to. Like that's something that's the part of the equation. He like it's like the same thing with people who are pro-Nazi is they don't understand it. Like to quote the dead Kennedys, and the real Fourth Reich will be the first to go.
Yes,
because you're you're a deviant weirdo, and they're going to get rid of you. Mm-hmm. You know, like they're only going to use you until they get to power, and then. Fuck you. You're done.
Right. Like you said, like Springfield, Ohio has been on the news, right? Mm-hmm. And apparently a white supremacist group actually addressed, this was weeks ago, way before the conversation, you know, the way before they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats thing, was a white supremacist group went to speak in front of the city council. Actively, they were white supremacists, and their whole thing was the Haitian population needs to be eliminated. So if you're talking about one group of Afro-Caribbean people, you think the white supremacists are going to stop with them?
No.
They're not going to stop until it's every person.
I'll tell you a thing I've learned about white supremacists is they won't stop until they're at each other's throats.
Correct.
I've read enough stuff. Actually, it's really funny. You can actually go log on to a white supremacist forum and you can accuse somebody of being a fucking FBI plant and watch the antics ensue.
Oh, I think that's what took down the Libertarian Party, because there's been a shit ton of bullshit with the Libertarian
Party.
Party. And as people are pointing out, is that through leadership, Trump was always the end game. Mm-hmm. And it's because of that. It's because of white supremacy.
Yes.
Is that they didn't care about liberty-minded anything. They didn't care about any of that. Mm-hmm. They used the Liberty Party to
in the same way that the Republican Party's always used the religious right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been documented that Reagan, Bush, all those people thought those people were fucking tools. They fucking hated them. They thought they were stupid ignoramuses, but they were willing to kowtow a bit to their fucking point of view to get them to vote in a certain way because they knew they'd come out and vote in a block.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
this one is sort of standard boilerplate for any crazy conspiracy theorist candidate. 9/11 and the moon landing were probably fake, he said.
And the world's flat and birds aren't real.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I don't know. And they're putting crazy shit in my cornflakes.
Exactly. What was the shit? The one guy who oh God, I would have remembered this if I hadn't been drinking. The guy who ran for president on third-party ticket, like with the Bush.
The rent's too goddamn high?
Yeah, that guy. But his specific, one of his things, kind of like they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, was they're putting gonorrhea in our sandwiches. Which is one of my favorite sound bites ever. They're putting gonorrhea. Actually, I think that was a comedian that was making fun of it. But either way, it's still one of my favorite quotes. They're putting gonorrhea in our sandwiches.
Oh, I hope they don't do that.
No, I
like sandwiches, but I don't like gonorrhea.
No, who does? Who does really? And then, of course, the cherry on top, and I know you've got some things.
Yeah.
The cherry on top to the list I had.
This was the first thing I heard about the guy.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. And I think that's what led to a lot of people trying to, which, folks, this was here all along, and we've been warning you, especially women in our state have been warning you. Listen to women. One of the things he said, and on record, was some folks need killing. So this is
he wasn't specific either, which was the worst part of it. Like, I don't know if it would have been better or worse if he had been specific. Either way, it should raise your eyebrows.
Yeah, no matter what. Right.
Because I'm like, I don't know whether I like it better because it's vague. I don't actually. I think it makes me more nervous. But I mean, even if it had been specific, I still wouldn't like it because even if it wasn't me, I'd still be like, yeah, but it never ends with just those people, right? Exactly. Like that's the thing. So my issue, I don't know if you haven't read this one probably.
No, obviously not. Because
I said some of this stuff's going to make you blush.
I know what I hate.
Well,
I mean, this is public service. This is what we're doing here.
Okay, so I read on the same porn forums where he wrote, I like watching transgender porn because of the blah blah blah. He also several times mentioned that he was having an affair with his wife's sister. And he said, and I quote, he said, well, one of the things he said, and sorry, I want to have a caveat aside here for a minute. I'm not kink shaming because if you're into this, it's fine. The problem is this guy's a hypocrite because he wants to be able to do these things, but not let you do these things.
Correct. Yes. 100%.
Okay. So
yes,
I don't care what you're into. I'm fine with it. It may or may not be my thing. I'm not saying that is where I'm going to be private, but he said what in one of the forums he mentioned how much he liked the urinating during sex.
Right.
The thing he's really into.
Yeah, apparently that is a deviant thing.
And this is what ties him back to. Well, I don't know if that ties him back to it ties him back to R. Kelly.
Yeah,
but I suspect
and Trump.
Yes, exactly. And I suspect Sean Combs is into this as well. I feel like these kinds of people probably are really.
If you're doing the deviant shit. You're probably doing all the deviants.
You're doing all the you're gonna go deep dive on it.
Yeah, you're not be like I like one little tiny sliver of deviance, but nothing else.
Like, yeah,
I draw the line at everything else.
Just whips. After that, everything's crazy. Yeah.
Right.
You know? No. But the thing was he said he was having an affair with his wife's sister, and he liked to pee in her asshole.
Oh Jesus.
And then he liked to lick her asshole. She had the tastiest asshole and pussy he'd ever tasted.
Jesus Lord.
Yes.
Do not let this man be our governor.
This kind of shit this guy, and I'm like I said, I'm not naysaying his sexual activities because that's on him, whatever.
But he's specifically saying that no one else in the state
should be allowed to do these things.
Or not even just those things, but gay people can't exist.
Right.
Trans people can't exist.
And how are those people any worse than this? Like
they're not.
You know?
They're not.
And I'm not saying that that's bad. Like that's what I'm trying to be clear. I'm not trying to kink shame. I'm trying to say, but look at this shit this guy's into. And then he says, you can't do these things.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's fucking nonsense, guy. Like, do you not see? Like, why can't you just be like, hey, sexuality is a good time. It's a spectrum of all kinds of like 31 flavors, and we can all do whatever the fuck we want. And who gives a shit?
As long as you don't hurt anyone else,
right? Although I suspect your wife might have been a tad hurt that you were having an affair with her sister.
I imagine that would have been.
I don't know. Maybe it was cool. I don't know what goes on.
It doesn't matter. You shouldn't be having those conversations on the internet.
Either way. Candidate. I don't know. as I like, there used to be a columnist for the Atlanta Journal and Constitution named Louis Grizzard, who passed away back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And he was a little backwards, but he was also funny. I mean, backwards. He was a man of his times, is what I will say. Yes, it was backwards, but it was also a man of his times kind of thing. But he was progressive in ways. He was, he was complicated. People
I know a lot of people that are very progressive and still are people of their times, right? Like,
okay, well, again,
they're progressive to a degree.
This guy was brought up. He was a baby boomer, and he died in the 90s. Okay,
right.
Anyway, that's all the caveat I'm going to give it. Now I'm going to say he had a saying. sometimes he'd say, I don't know that I'd have told that.
Mm.
And in the case of Mark Robinson, that's what Louis Grizzard would have had to say. I don't know that I'd have told that.
Yeah.
It's not that you do the things. It's just maybe learn some discretion.
Exactly.
You don't have to go on the internet and brag about every fucking thing. And if you do, maybe don't use the same username for every fucking website you've ever been on in your life. I mean, like I say that, and I'm that guy. I use the same password and log in for everything. But I don't give a shit what you know about me. If you guys want to go do a deep dive and come back and go, oh God, Bill, I saw your FetLife account, and I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Well,
like,
and
I haven't hurt anybody.
Right. As long as you haven't victimized anybody, trampled on anyone's human rights, which I you don't want to talk about this, but dude, you are a black politician and you want to deny human rights to, by the way, and I think we do need to mention this before we end the show, right? He is mentioned several times, Martin Luther King, and Trump has compared him to Martin Luther King.
Right, yeah.
And Bernice King was like, fuck that.
No. He was not for any of that. Except, he was kind of into some of that kinky shit. But other than that, that's what Trump meant. He's like, this guy told me what he's into, and he's the new Black Martin.
Yeah, exactly. But Bernice King, actually, I think her statement was, "Keep your father's name out of your mouth," which is brilliant. But
they should get Will Smith in on that action.
Yeah,
keeping your name out of your mouth.
slap. Yeah, absolutely. Somebody should recreate that with Bernice King. Yeah, no, it's some bullshit. So anyway, this is a public service announcement. North Carolina, we're gonna go get food because it is ready. But North Carolina, vote like your life depends on it.
I actually heard he's severely hurting down ballot races for other Republicans because of his clowniness.
Absolutely. No, North Carolina is going to be an interesting
And he refuses to bow out, by the way. That's another thing. This guy's full of fucking ego, which is the same reason. That's the reason why he's logged onto every website with the same name, is because he's all ego and no fucking brains.
Correct. All right, folks. We will see you again in less than a week, because this will air in a few days.
Yeah.
Then we're recording it. So we'll see you all soon. Bye, everybody.